Hey heroes, welcome to another episode of Hosts4Hire. I am Lucas Rand and this is Kyle Cage. Today we're going to be covering part 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. The Tomorrowverse has been getting real good so far and we are really excited to get into this. Part 1 was really good, so this had a lot to live up to. Let's talk about whether it did or not.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I enjoyed the opening with it focusing on the Bat family and Batman.
Oh yeah.
That was a really, really good sequence there with the Jokerized
Dude,
Jim.
I called that Joker. I was just about to say, I called that Joker Jim. I was like, saw him. I was watching with my stepbrother, and I was like, "Is that Jim?" And sure as shit, I was like, "Oh shit, nice."
Yeah, it's crazy how that just I didn't realize it. It caught me by surprise.
That was a really cool moment.
Yeah, I thought that, and then him getting blown to bits. That was crazy.
Oh,
Like I didn't expect any of that.
Brutal.
Yeah, I guess.
Honestly, I thought it was really cool to see Killer Croc.
Mm-hmm.
That was super dope. He's a villain that doesn't come around too often, and it's just always awesome to see.
And his design was one of the coolest I've ever seen. Like it was like it's between that one and the Arkham games for me.
Yeah, he looked menacing as shit. Yeah, ooh, the Arkham games.
Yeah, that Killer Croc
super
was
sick.
awesome.
Yeah, Terry, bro.
Oh, I didn't expect to see him as well. Like that was definitely a highlight so far of the Tomorrowverse.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but Batman Beyond was obviously so integral to my childhood growing up. So just like seeing him in any capacity is so amazing.
Yeah, I just that whole show, that whole like arc is so good.
Yeah. Also, though, you bringing up the Bat family, I really enjoyed their point because we talked about in part 1 how this version of Batman never adopted Dick in this world, so he's a total alone Batman, never had the family, and this Bat family really shows that he is not on their level because of it. They almost seem to me like they always are coming to his rescue in this movie. A lot. It happens twice, I believe, where they come to his rescue, where he like is losing, and then they come in. Where it's like, so not only does it feel like that Batman in their world was truly the superior Batman because he had the Bat family, but now this Bat family, because of having that, is better than this Batman.
Yeah, like even like Damian in some ways is this Batman doesn't trust in any way, shape, or form. Like him stopping Damian's blade. Like when he flipped that blade and looked at him, like it was gonna hit him. The hilt was going to hit him. Like I know what I'm doing. Like.
Yeah, I like that a lot. He does the same thing with Terry, where he like stops Terry, and then he kind of like basically takes everyone down on his own because he like doesn't trust.
But he doesn't
to, like,
do it as efficiently as they do because they trust
right.
each other to have their backs.
Like that's a really good point. Like Damien wasn't looking behind him because he knew that Terry had the dude on his back, and Terry was the same. You know, like
because he knew that Helena had his back, and like Helena knew that
really cool.
Robin had her back.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that, and like I like the point that they made with this Batman. Really
yeah, and how it culminates with him just like being weaker, like him being a worse Batman than they are. Their perspective roles
because of being completely alone, and like that's a super cool perspective on that.
I thought it was a good opening considering like the Long Halloween was all we really saw of Batman and the Tomorrowverse so far, and like we haven't really seen any of the Bat family because obviously they weren't in those movies.
Yeah, I really like how Jensen Ackles' Batman has been really peak, but in a totally different way from Batmans that we've seen.
Yeah, like the DCAMU Batman and the animated series, like they were all badasses. Like the DCAMU especially,
extreme
like just
badass.
Crazy cool fight scenes, and like this one is
capable.
And
extraordinarily capable.
Exactly, and this one's a little bit younger, a little newer, has made different decisions that led to him not being as good.
Yeah, as capable. Yeah. That's like the best word for Batman, I think. Like when you're thinking of like a peak Batman, it's like he's like, because we're in that DCAMU, like there's fights where he's fighting Superman, and he's like, he's doing it. Like he's capable. He's dodging his moves.
Yeah.
Whereas like it doesn't feel like this Batman is really on that
level. No, not nearly as capable. That's for sure. Yeah. But then they move on and they introduce like Psycho Pirate, who's a really obscure character. I had to look him up. up. I had no idea.
Yep, I never heard of him either. You guys, was this a new character to you as well? Let us know if you had to look up who this was, or if you were just kind of like, "Oh, sick, Psycho Pirate."
And if so, where did you know him from?
Yeah, absolutely. His backstory was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was really like almost sympathetic in some ways.
Yeah, because he was like a culmination of his like environment, but also like a product of his power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like,
and he was almost like a victim
kind
of
of made him that way.
Like, yeah. Like he was.
There's a really cool concept in My Hero, the anime, where they talk about this girl whose power is to drink blood, and that like she was born with the innate desire to do it because her power involved drinking blood.
Yeah.
So like it's kind of the same in the sense where like he had an innate power to control people because that is what he's like. That's what his body does. You know, which is really really cool.
Yeah, and it's just like like the sociopathy was a natural survival mechanism. Like he needed it.
Yeah.
Like he needed to stop caring about how everyone else felt. It was by necessity. It was really cool that like how they showed how he was also like a main part of other films. Like
how he was like the one manipulating Aquaman in Justice Society and shit. That was like a super crazy reveal.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, one of the coolest DC characters. I'm so glad they brought him in, and that he's just as cool as always as Dr. Fate. Like that scene
we talked about in part 1 that's who I wanted to see more of, and
there it is, perfect. And it's you wanted to see more of him because, like I said, he's bar none the coolest character. Like in my opinion, like obviously, let us know like who
he's top 3.
Yeah, who do you think is your guys' top 3? You know, because Dr. Fate's up there for me for sure. Batman's up there for me. Yeah, but in any case, like the shift of perspective was really cool.
Oh, dude, yeah, where they went from like Psycho Pirate kind of being like the torturer, or Dr. Fate flips it on him and he becomes the torturer.
Where he's like, "Get me out of here! What is this thing?" He's
genuinely scared. Yeah, that was really cool. How he's like genuinely like shook.
He couldn't
like, get me the fuck away from this dude.
Like I don't like this guy's vibe. I really don't like the way this guy knows more than me. Yeah. And
dude, when he turned into like the Dr. Fate and his costume came over him, I got like literal chills. Yeah. I was so.
It was for me. It was one of the top moments of the movie. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. I kind of like I forget some of the quotes that like he said in that moment, but man, God, they were so badass. It was so ominous. Like that power shift was so cool to see.
Yeah, it was definitely like jarring too, because for me watching it, like as I was watching it, I was like, what, like honestly, I was like, who is this? Like, what's happening? And then it like shifted, and I was like, oh shit. Shit just got real for Psycho Pirate. Oh my god.
Speaking of a crazy little shift, Kara, they show you kind of how she became Harbinger, and that was really really cool. How like she was found by Monitor immediately after Krypton exploded in this reality. Just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of like a surrogate daughter to the fucking Monitor.
Which like going like to your point, like it means that he found her before the events of Legion of Superheroes.
Yep.
You know,
right. Like she leaves him in like a angst act to go be a part of that.
And those actions and those that action is what spurred the Monitor to take part instead of just record.
Another really cool point.
Yep.
I thought it was an interesting plot point of like Monitor having been alive and having experienced the universe for like countless millennia, you know, but like he never experienced like
fatherhood,
for lack of a better word, fatherhood. Yeah, like, that's exactly it.
Being a parent, I guess, like dealing with an angsty
and like how like how much it shifted his point of view of literally the entire universe. Like it shifted his whole point of view of everything, just having another being to like care for.
Yeah,
which is a really cool plot point and like point of view.
Yeah, like how much,
and it actually parallels Batman super fucking well that we were just talking about.
That's a great point.
Was the opposite, and he didn't care, and he pushed everyone away, and it hinders your point of view, it hinders your perspective.
That's a great point. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like and like the fact that after she comes back, he ends up like seemingly like utilizing her for his purpose, but then like is still trying to kind of be in between. You know, he's still trying not to care as deeply as he knows he actually does. He's more like trying to deny what he knows to be true.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is kind of what Spectre is trying to get him to accept the whole time, until eventually in the end of this film it culminates with,
him doing so.
So but that going into that, it was kind of crazy to me that Monitor was using Psychopirate to project confidence and calm across all realities.
Like that was kind of crazy.
Yeah. It was like, it felt almost like he was being tortured in that way, but like he wasn't being forced against his will.
It's just that's clearly an intense ass feat, like you're feeling everything everyone's
panic, which is like horrible panic,
like that distress. Sounds horrifying. That sounds like a terrible power.
Honestly, and like he kind of got like a real shit end of the stick.
Like I said, I've really felt for Psychopirate. He was the most sympathetic villain I've seen in a long time.
Straight up. Which that brings up how he kind of plays the Monitor too, because he's so sympathetic that even the Monitor falls for like his
little scheme.
Which was really, really cool. Which brings as well to the second folly of the Monitor, when he gets told by a question where he's like, "This is the first time you've been surprised in a billion years. You should have questioned your own infallibility."
Dude, the question in both of these movies is one of my favorite characters in this.
Same, so he's just putting out bars.
Like anytime he speaks, it's like, God damn. And he also always says the word question in everything he says, and it's so good.
And like the way he says it is always like, question.
Yeah, like and like so, or like he tries to get a point across with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I love it.
He'll say it deadpan.
It's like, bro, just say what you mean. Okay, God damn it.
Exactly. Yeah, but another with Spectre, like the thing where he goes, "To whom much is given, much will be required." Like, just
really love that, dude. The Spectre is so cool, and
well, also a really great character that is underutilized, in my opinion.
Yes,
like
yes, because like he's such a good plot point.
Mm-hmm.
Like like he's such a good device to use in the plot. It's just so awesome.
Yeah, because like his purpose is always really vague too. They never ever tell you exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and the writers of this used him like absolutely perfectly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think,
like I said, like everything he said was so like matter of fact, and he's like speaking to one of the like oldest, most powerful entities in the literal universe, in the multiverse.
Yeah,
and he's just like talking to him like like he's just like any other being.
Yeah, or even like just like a more of a lesser being, really, because he is like he's like under him, But
pretty great. I also love that like after everything, Monitor is like, well, as it turns out, for 100 trillion years, I've been just wrong about everything.
Literally, just everything.
I was wrong about this antimatter. I was wrong about this wave. I was wrong about not caring. I was wrong about all of it.
Every single thing.
Fine.
Okay, cool.
It's okay. I'm going through a literal crisis, actually.
So this is what a crisis of confidence is like. Holy shit. It's been billions of years and I've never experienced one.
I'm getting what the kids call anxiety.
Is that what this is? Can't breathe. Do you guys like me? We're really going through it.
Yeah, also, so like another real big plot point moving forward a little bit here that I liked was that they were trying to show that the heroes weren't capable of like doing this.
Yeah, like they were spread so thin. Like there was really nothing they could do to stop it.
It felt the whole time like it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Like they're just holding out, but it's just a matter of time.
I loved when Psychopirate was talking to Blue Beetle, and he's like, "You've always," or no, who was it? It wasn't Psychopirate.
No, it is Psychopirate. He's talking to Blue Beetle, and then like he leaves the room, and like he convinces Blue Beetle that he's a good guy.
He's like, I was like,
and
that
Blue
guy.
Beetle's like, I always like that.
That the way that line was delivered was quintessential Ted Kord. Like that's what I loved about
Straight
it.
up.
That's really what I loved.
It also cut through like a real big tension point in the movie, and it was just super hilarious.
Yeah, because everything, you're right. There was a lot of tension built up at that point, and there was some comedic relief needed. That's for sure.
Yeah, which also it was interesting. I'm pretty sure right after that scene, Psycho Pirate gets like involuntarily transported
like that
to
was
like
weird.
that like anti-monitor world. Yeah, I'm wondering what that was all about. Like, did Anti-Monitor pull him in there because he recognized like his power and his potential?
Yeah.
Or like what was up with that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm curious to see what they do with that. Yeah. So
another little plot point that I like am wondering about, and like what happened to the satellite little dude that was always with Monica?
Yeah, like did he sacrifice himself at some point? Like what happened? Like did he have to focus too much? He couldn't be around. Like they didn't. I don't know.
That was kind of weird.
Yeah, there was a few strange interactions. Like why wasn't Satellite aware that Psycho Pirate was like sending out this wave? Like doesn't he have all the sensors? Doesn't like how did that? I don't know.
Yeah, he's kind of like the whole ship.
Yeah,
right?
that's what like he is. Like he's
understood.
just like he's a little robot that symbolizes the ship.
Yeah, like the entire ship. Yeah. So yeah, I wonder if that's a little bit of a plot hole there, or they're gonna maybe wrap that all around and explain that in part 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and I hope they do. Same.
Also, another thing I'm wondering about is like in that big wave that hits
I was just about,
which also, by the way,
come on, genius. That's great writing.
Awesome.
I just love when people find good.
Themistera, bro, dope as fuck.
Yeah, that's a great name. I love it.
What did you guys think about that? Did you even pick up on that? Because like you pointed that out to me, Kyle, and I didn't even like notice.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite like small details.
Super cool
of the whole thing.
Yeah. But like, how many worlds die?
And also,
on that big wave that come
Wonder
there?
Woman is immortal, right? Like she should just be like alive.
But like
in space.
It's the antimatter wave, so like she's dead.
Yeah, like did it like unwrite? That's really like the question. Does the antimatter wave like unwrite history, or does it like attempt to,
or like does it just like remove you
or destroy molecules?
Doesn't matter what it is.
Because if there's something like that, then I don't think it's gonna be able to kill her. You know what I mean? Like if it can't destroy, if it can only destroy molecules, her molecules cannot be destroyed. She is immortal.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because she definitely wasn't there at the end. So like,
yeah, we'll see. We'll see in part 3.
I'm assuming that she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
that'll be kind of dope if she makes a little bit of a return.
Yeah.
But also those like shadow beings that like came up, were those like is that a big part of the antimatter?
Yeah, are they like I think what I think they are is they're like little like like amalgams of like smaller versions of,
because what we learned in this movie was that like it wasn't a wave, right? It was like it
had a purpose
being,
almost.
or it had a purpose, right?
Like
and that it wasn't multiple things happening, it was just one source attack from one being, because they say that all these shadow beings are just one, right? And then eventually at the end it amalgamates to that one big huge fucking
big. Is
so
that
like
Anti-Monitor though?
Right.
Because that's not like obviously a comic accurate Anti-Monitor. Like they're clearly doing something.
But that's what
with this one. It's very obvious.
Catching that is Anti-Monitor.
Yeah, that's the way it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, unless.
But that was a cool. That was a cool fight scene, though. That whole montage of them protecting the towers. Like, oh shit! Batman really was not good in that, in my opinion. Which is to the point.
I really liked
the
scene
about.
as well.
Like why didn't he have flashbangs? Like you brought this up right away. Like why didn't he have flashbangs? Like,
that upset me. Like that actually like bothered me a little bit. I get the point that again.
It didn't really bother me until you brought it up, and then I was like, well, of all things, like okay, dude,
it bugged the crap out of me because he pulled that flashlight out, and I was like, Batman.
That's the only light.
Doesn't have flashbangs, bro.
that's like, the only light.
The Bat family comes through with flashbangs, and you don't have any like lights.
And it goes back to what we were saying before about it being a way for them to show like how unskilled he is compared to
just unprepared.
I can't remember the word he used earlier.
He's not Batman.
No, he's incapable. That's the one.
Yep, capable. Yep.
But,
and again, like they came in and saved his ass, which was really cool. Oh,
yeah.
love that. Bat family, just so sick. Especially, I found it so hilarious that they were so ready to fight each other.
Yeah. Like immediately, the moment that Psycho Pirate like put out bad vibes, they were like, "It's on site." Like, yeah, I hate you. Actually, you're gonna catch these.
They're like, I have so much repressed hate and rage and sadness. Oh God, I need to take it out for you specifically.
Yeah, you know what, Bruce? I actually hate you. You're a piece of shit, and I'm gonna fuck you up. And in that fight hilarious. Too, it shows that like Batman's obviously holding his own against the people he's fighting because it is Batman,
right?
But he is not stomping them the way that their Batman would have.
Right?
He would they wouldn't stand a chance against the DC.
That's a cool point.
Batman. Yeah, I don't know.
Facts.
Yeah. There were, like I said, a lot of cool scenes. Like Wonder Woman was a menace with that whip, dude.
Whip?
Oh yeah, bro,
that was sick.
That was so dope.
That was super cool.
Yeah, and like just the fucking accent and the voice acting for her was amazing.
Yeah, I love her like Greek accent. They again, fantastic job with like
the casting of everyone. Really, like I didn't recognize it at first, but Aldous Hodge was Jon Stewart. So yeah, he was Jon Stewart, and
I love Aldous Hodge. Him as Hawkman, you guys.
It's the best. It's the best.
Your opinions on Black Adam aside, the dude that cast that Hawkman, please tell me in the comments what you guys thought of that Hawkman, because if we disagree, we gonna go at it in the comments.
Yeah, because there are so many reasons why he's
that man is peak.
Yeah, and he did a great job as Jon Stewart. And a little more obscure casting that I didn't realize until the credits was that Zach Callison from Steven Universe, the guy who played the voice Steven Universe, voices all of the Robins.
That's awesome. Yeah. By the way, Steven Universe, bless.
We're gonna have to do an episode on Steven Universe. That's just a given. That's one of the greatest pieces of content ever made. Like, I don't care if it's a kid's show. I will cry. I will cry 100% of the time I watch that show. If I ever anytime I finish that show, I'll cry every single time.
Yeah. If I don't, there's something wrong with me.
Yeah. I'm broken and I need help. If I don't, all right.
Speaking of broken, this Constantine character was just truly broken.
Yeah,
that was, and also the way that he just like comes back. Like to Constantine, that was both like kind of lazy writing with him just being like, "Oh, my name."
Like he's never, yep. That's why it rubbed me the wrong way. I couldn't put my finger on why specifically a name. Like I literally said, like he hadn't heard like his name.
Yeah, what's with DC and like names just connecting people on such a crazy weird
But
level?
Here's the thing: he's been wandering,
especially common ass names like Martha and John.
Yeah, he's been wandering for how many thousands of years that they've said like he's like like so old they keep saying, but like he never once heard the name John in passing, not once in thousands of years. John is the most common name like ever, and like most.
Yeah, or he didn't. He was like, "Yeah, that's definitely not me." And then when it got screamed at him, he's like, "Wait, is that me?
That's me. That is me." Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of lazy writing, but hey, it has to happen sometimes. But however, Constantine was sick. Man, Constantine, like we were talking about Dr. Fate being up in the top DC characters, Constantine is right there for me with him. I fucking love this character.
Yeah, especially Matt Ryan.
Is Matt Ryan the voice actor in this one?
Yeah.
Of course he is, because
he is Constantine. He's voiced him.
He's
voiced him in every single thing, almost, if not every. I looked it up the other day, and it's almost every single thing that Constantine has been in, barring like tiny little productions,
and Keanu Reeves' version.
Yeah, which I mean, like in the last like 10 years or so.
Yeah. Dude, he is Constantine. I love his version so much.
Yeah.
The way he like just touches Green Lantern's wall and breaks it was just so sick.
For me, it was the look on his face. Like, you really thought this was gonna do something?
Well, what it said to me was, your magic is weak.
Yeah.
Like compared to me, is this your magic, bro?
Yeah.
This is
this ain't magic.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah, but they, like I was saying though, the Bat family kind of wrecked Batman though. They fight differently, and he's not prepared for it, and they are trained in ways that he hasn't figured out yet. You know what I mean? Like
That's a really
they have,
cool thing too. That you said they all fight differently. They do all fight differently, but they all have like a style,
and they all
and
work
that's
together.
so sick.
Like everything
That's so sick
works
because
together.
that means that they all, were trained by Batman, so they all have like their unique like styles, but they all have the Bat training.
Well,
Like
and they all have their own unique styles because they all were trying to figure out their own way to beat him, to best him.
Yep.
Because they they could see like what he's doing isn't working, so I'm gonna try this, and it ended up creating multiple different styles of fighting. But it also shows that like this Batman cannot handle that.
Especially not as like a team. Like you said, he was holding his own. I kind of forget who he was fighting. He was fighting Terry.
Yeah,
right?
They kind of switched a couple times. Like they kind of fought each other.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like I said, they were just like, and you, I have a bone to pick with you as well. Come over here. I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I've been wanting to do this for 5 years. All right.
Afterwards, they're like, "You guys, I'm really sorry. I really needed it."
And everyone's it just bonds them. They're closer together. They're closer than ever now.
They're like, no. Good punch to the pit.
It was a fair punch.
It was a fair tip punch. It was a fair tip punch.
I did get you in the groin a little later, so we're even, all right? God damn it. But there were a few things that like, I didn't like. There was some spilled milk that we could cry over.
Yeah, definitely
like,
that we gotta just cry a little bit.
Like it didn't show them adapting to the waves, like being continuous. And that it just makes everything that Barry did just kind of feel like useless.
Yeah, it just kind of came in and they were like, okay, the waves are continuous. It's like it just like was a thing. And it kind of like made the whole Barry sacrifice feel a little flat.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't hit the way that it should have. Like, I don't know.
I agree with that. I also feel like they could have spent a little bit less time in certain points so that they could add a few more like cool action scenes. I know that like this version and like this Tomorrowverse isn't as like action based as the DC AMU was,
or really any of the other things.
Right, but like still, like I am still a fiend for those like action scenes, and I feel like they could have maybe taken a little less time, like maybe on Psycho Pirate's like backstory or some stuff.
Yeah,
like
see,
that.
I'm in the other boat. Like I did enjoy that, like because we got so much cool action in the DC AMU. I really enjoyed like feeling that like storytelling is the priority.
I'm a slut for action
I know
scenes.
you
I'm
are.
always
I
like,
know
where
you
is it? I want it.
Like there are some things that we'll talk about where you're like, I didn't really like it very much, and it's mostly that there wasn't very much action or the action wasn't like very good. Yeah.
Also, another bit that kind of carries into that a little is that I felt that Green Lantern wasn't used very well against the Shadow people.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally
he's a
light based. Like he is the light based. Like he charges in a lantern. Like it's in his name. A light source.
So I feel like that could have been a really cool opportunity to show some really cool constructs that he could make. Like that would have been something really cool to see.
And I was thinking that like Psycho Pirate was gonna become the Anti-Monitor or like something like that, or like that maybe he always was. That.
You guys,
but
tell us how you feel about this. So I kind of had the inclination that they were building the Psycho Pirate thing as kind of like everything that Monitor wasn't. Like he has such like empathy. He has such like his power is to literally connect. So he like and Monitor is so dispassionate over the last like billion years. That like that almost makes Psycho Pirate like the opposite of him. And then when he got a portion of his power, I was like, oh, okay, Psycho Pirate is gonna become the Anti-Monitor. Like, oh shit, this is a crazy twist. And then that never really happened. And like, I don't know. It made like the Psycho Pirate character like feel a little flat. I don't know.
It felt like it was a little lazy. Like Anti-Monitor's just like out there, and like Psycho Pirate like just happens to happen upon him. Like I don't know. Like it just feels like it was just kind of rushed.
Like was there just this malevolent force out there all this time, just waiting for somebody to pop into that like netherverse of his that he's like sitting in? That like anti-space that like or like. when was the first? Like, was that the first time in all the history of time?
Hopefully these things get answered in part 3. You know, like
yeah.
like they have a lot to wrap up. You know,
because there's a lot of characters that travel the multiverse.
Yeah,
like in this. So like, how did none of them ever happen?
And why would fate give it to him? You know, like what, like why?
Yeah,
what was the importance of that? Like, why him?
Yeah,
I guess you know, maybe because of his ability to,
he knows something in the future.
Well, he's either his ability to influence emotions is important when it comes to the Anti-Monitor, or he knows something that happens in the future or that has happened in the past. That because
I'm hoping part 3 kind of just like does like this whole like crazy answering of all these,
because like they didn't do anything with Warworld, like in Barry, like at the ending of part 1, like that feels significant, right? Like to go back before the beginning. Like whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, like just like what, you know, like the whole like thing where he goes back to that like archaic.
Yeah, the war, or not the War World.
It happens in
barbarian, the barbarian movie,
the
barbarian Bruce.
Batman. Yeah. Like, so like, are we gonna see that barbarian Batman in the next one? Like, is he significant?
Or it's like, because like that Batman, that Bruce is the Batman that we see. That was in the past.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Like
it was like in his mind, you know, like it was like all John in his mind during the War World.
Yeah, exactly. So like that was, but that, I don't know, maybe that like, because that would be the Bruce that ended up going back home and that we see in this current time.
Yeah, I guess just like, why tell him in that moment? You know, like, why not just tell Batman, like go back and tell Batman at another time?
Yeah, why that one? I don't know. And why didn't they bring it up at all in this? Because that was like the button. Yeah. That was like the button at the end of part 1, and then they just did nothing with it.
Yeah, so I'm very curious about what's happening with it. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that at all, bro, until just like right now. And now I'm like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, they literally just leave it be. But
also, like the whole thing when Monitor said that was like an experiment.
Being sketchy as shit at the end?
Yeah.
They didn't bring that up at all. I don't understand why. Like,
maybe he was just kind of being sketchy. Maybe he's just a sketchy guy.
Maybe he just vibed that as sketchy, and it wasn't sketchy at all. Like he was just like trying. Like that's because that's what a scientist does: is he tries and he sees if something. Also,
the other thing that I pointed out, and I thought, what was with Kara's lapses in like fucks, where like she suddenly would just go like brain dead for like a little bit. She just looked like she just like stopped caring about everything. Suddenly.
Where she?
That was kind of strange.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Yeah, you guys. What are your questions? These like part 1 and part 2. Like it's been a crazy. Like,
it was so confusing, a wild ride.
Like we don't have all the pieces.
Yeah, there's a lot that they need to answer and satisfy. You know, like they definitely need to. They have a lot to live up to with part 3. That's for sure.
Yeah. Like, do you guys like this style of movie? You know, where they kind of just like make all these questions and they leave it like, you know, to be answered. Hopefully, like in a part 3, and it all is just going to hopefully make sense.
And they answer questions with other questions.
Are you not enjoying this? Yeah, because definitely we got some questions answered with questions.
Yeah.
God, can't speak. But yeah, so tell us how you guys felt about it. This part 2 for me felt a little less like interactive like than part 1. Like part 1, like I was glued to that screen, you know, like I was less engaged in part 2, I think. So I'm hoping that part 3 is going to be.
Part 2 was definitely much more exposition. There was very little action, going back to what we said before, which is why you're probably glued to the screen. Because this one, for me, I actually was a little more glued to the screen for this one than I was for the first one.
I guess I just was like really invested in that Barry.
Yeah, and which was really good because we didn't get to see the Flash. We talked about this, you know, in the first part. We didn't get to see him in this, so it was good to see him, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like, so like, where is he? Like, what happened? Because he kind of got like taken by the Speed Force,
or like he like faded from existence because he just like used up everything that he had. You know, he had nothing left to give.
Maybe that's what was happening in that world where he was kind of like staticking out.
Mm-hmm. Where it was like that was his last ditch attempt to convey some kind of information before he was gone forever.
Before dying. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it like that. That's dope. Okay. I like that. Yeah, but hey, you guys, as always, thank you so much for making it to this point. If you guys are still here listening with us, please, if you liked what we're talking about and you like our content, like and subscribe if you haven't already. That's at Hosts4Hire podcast on Spotify and YouTube, and at Hosts4Hire pod on X.
Yeah, and if there's anything you guys disagreed with or you thought we missed about the film, just let us know, in the comments below, or even in a private message. Anything you want, so we can get the conversation going. We just want to interact.
Yeah,
we want to be told we're wrong. We want to debate. We want to.
Absolutely. Don't get at me about Aldous Hodge's Hawkman, though.
Actually, do so, because I will debate that all day. You're wrong. He's an amazing Hawkman. If you don't think so, you're wrong.
And I want him back in James Gunn's DC.
There's a few casts that
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we probably won't see Dr. Fate anymore, but
I know. Yeah.
That was also we're gonna have to do a Black Adam one, because that's a polarizing movie.
Soon.
People don't really. A lot of people didn't really like it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I thought it was one of the better.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the better, if not the best DCEU movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with you on that point. So yeah, we're gonna have to do that soon. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much. And again, we will talk next week for part 3. Please join us. We are very excited.